Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a short update explaining exactly what is taking place on the shorter time frames and talking about the potential of if we're actually going to see a reversal in a bottom of the market or if we still have one more sell-off coming. There has been a nice bounce over this last weekend, but we're now sitting right at resistance. Can this finally be the moment where we break out of resistance and make our first higher high in the bull trend? Or is this just going to be another bull trap before we await ourselves for new lows? If you're new and just find this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos, like the one provided for you here. And make sure if you're a new guy just getting into these markets, you go ahead and download my free ebook and beginner's guide to crypto. This is going to teach you guys a lot of the basics of investing, how to be more profitable, how to set up smarter decisions inside of your portfolio. Links are going to be in the description. It's free to download, not going to cost you anything, but I know it's going to help you guys out tremendously. So check it out. Links are in the description. And with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, here we are taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. Now here we are taking a look at this, and as you guys can see, we have had a nice bounce over this last weekend, and we are now right back in contact with the 50-day moving average. You guys have known by the last few months, I've been talking a lot about this 50-day moving average as kind of a big trend indicator for deciding when the reversal point of the market is going to be. I've pretty much just stated that as long as we were below this moving average, we're going to be bearish. And if we could get back above and hold support, then that could be the early signal of a trend reversal. Now, over that weekend, we saw this bounce and we came right back up to hit and retest this moving average. Now, I don't think we have confirmation by any means. Whether we even get back above this or not, we're going to have to wait and see. And all of this is ultimately going to be decided around this SPX. Now, I wanted to jump straight into the SPX and talk about this because literally there is no point in looking at the crypto charts unless you are also watching the S&P 500 because crypto is literally just following this exact chart. Whatever this market does, crypto is going to follow. And really, guys, the SPX had this big move off of the lows, and Bitcoin only had this move. So it's actually performing better than crypto is as a whole. Now, if you guys remember at one point, all the way back over here, we were talking about this box. And at the time it was green because we had just flipped it. Remember this move here where we managed to come all the way back above. We cleared the 50-day moving average. We cleared our previous resistance level. And now we managed to go all the way back up to 4,300. During this sell-off, we talked about this first bounce. We talked about the potential where this could be a retest of our green box, and this would be a retest of this previous support here, right? It was resistance throughout this period. We flipped back above, and we wanted to see us hold support right here on this green box. That obviously wasn't the case. The markets showed weakness. We got this massive sell candle that went through all the way, and then we ended up closing even below the 50-day moving average, and so this became resistance. Now, if you guys notice, even though we closed below the 50-day, we managed to get a nice bounce back up, and we're now right back within this exact same level. And so at the end of the day, guys, there's no real reason to overcomplicate things. It's very simple and straightforward what's taking place. As long as we're below this level, this is a bearish retest. And so I'm not really too confident one way or the other. Yes, Bitcoin is sitting right at that 50-day moving average, but with the SPX sitting right at resistance, the time to buy really isn't now. And I think that we should wait for confirmation. A potential that we could see, maybe we reject at this level, and we have to come back down and retest this 50-day, and we consolidate here for a little while. You know, it's not unheard of to see us actually consolidate below this resistance for a short period of time without us actually having to say that it's going to drop to new lows. There's still plenty of decision making to be had inside of the market, and I think a lot of it's going to be decided around the 50-day moving average and this previous support level here. Remember, this was our previous support level when all of the news came out around Russia invading Ukraine. Once that level became resistance, that's been pretty much our big area that I've been pointing out for you guys. As long as we're below this level, I'm expecting more downside. If we can hold above, then in my opinion, that's where we're going to get a reversal point. But with us being above the 50-day and below our previous support level, we're in this really indecisive period where the market really can go either way. The time to buy really isn't right now while the market is at resistance. You're better off, waiting for a pullback of some kind. Maybe that pullback is where we come back down and retest the 50-day and do something like this. I don't really know, and I don't necessarily care because I'm not looking necessarily for entries. The biggest entry that's in my portfolio is when Pulse Chain launches, and when Pulse Chain launches, there's going to be some other ecosystem plays that launch inside of that I'm also going to be going after. But when it comes for me watching these markets, at the end of the day, I'm updating this chart to share with you guys what's taking place inside of Bitcoin. If the SPX pulls back here, we're going to see crypto pull back as well. And with the SPX at resistance, you're better off not thinking that Bitcoin's just going to clear the 50-day because the odds of that happening are less likely. We've been in a downtrend for a year. Yes, we're getting close to the end of that based off of our time frames, based off of even the percent return loss that we've seen. But we're not out of the clear yet. I think that we still have plenty of more chop to go, and this thing could easily chop until all the way to the end of the year. That's a long period of time, about 100 days that we still have. So, I mean, if you can wait 3 months, I think that the best strategy to do would be to have patience and wait. I mean, if the simple truth is if you weren't willing to buy when the market was selling off, you really shouldn't be trying to buy while the market's right at the 50-day moving average. Yes, if we get back above, that easily could show that the trend is reversed. But with the SPX at resistance, you're just better off not trying to play that sort of game. Wait for confirmation. If the SPX gets a nice strong bounce, let's say that we rally all the way up here to like 4,200, and then we start, bouncing off of this level like that. If that starts to take place, I mean, odds are going to be that this thing's going to be taking off at least to 4,500. And if we start actually flipping and making a new high above the one that we set here at 43, then in my opinion, that's probably going to be confirmation that the whole trend is reversed. That would tell me that there's no more fear around all of this stuff around Russia. There's no more fear around some of the talks with different diseases and things like that. And most likely we would finally see a reversal of this trend. But I don't think that we're out of the clear yet. And a lot of this is going to be decided around this dollar index. Now, the US dollar is at an interesting point because, yes, we're oversold and we have been oversold for a long period of time, but that's the way RSIs work. If we go and look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we're going to go over, and I'm going to actually share with you guys how oversold markets can stay. Now, Bitcoin peaked on the RSI January 8th of 2021. And we went through this entire period of descending resistance on the RSI. So we literally peaked here. But we had 4 consecutive higher highs after the highest point on the RSI. So what that tells me, and what that should tell everybody, is that markets can stay oversold for a long period of time. Now, what we saw with Bitcoin was every single higher high that we made, although it was a big impulse, it closed below the RSI. We saw lower lows and lower highs all the way through. And then it was literally this move here that is where we actually started our first lower high and lower low in that bear trend. And so this is very similar to pretty much what we're seeing inside of the US dollar index to some extent. This is very similar sort of price action where we've seen 3 consecutive lower highs on the RSI, but we've seen 3 consecutive higher highs on the price. So what we're seeing here is a lot of strength inside the dollar. The dollar has a lot of momentum. And the RSI is staying overbought for an extended period of time. This is something that can happen. As indicated by Bitcoin, we saw how overbought Bitcoin stayed for a long period of time before we ended up seeing a reversal. And so when we're watching this same thing play out for the dollar, this thing can continue to sort of play out like this. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw another impulse and then we got another one of these sort of things. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And that's just the way that the market's going to work. That's why the RSI isn't the greatest trend indicator. It can be really solid when spotting reversal points inside of a bear trend. But when it comes to spotting reversal points in a bull trend, they're not quite as accurate, where we see this massive lower low, but the RSI makes a higher high. I think that if you're going to use the RSI, you should look at when trying to identify bearish trend reversals, because I think they're a little bit more accurate. But really, at the end of the day, the RSI is just used to show momentum. It's not always going to be the most accurate of an indicator because we can get mixed signals, right? It has perfectly nailed the last two major bottoms, but keep in mind I'm on a weekly time frame. And in the same sense, we've stayed overbought for an extended period of time. I think that if you're going to use the RSI, it's more accurate when, for me anyways, when identifying bearish reversals. When it comes to bullish reversals, I've noticed that markets can stay pretty parabolic for a long period of time, so they're not quite as accurate. But what we're seeing here is roughly the same thing that played out over Bitcoin, and I do expect that we're really close to that point where we will see a reversal. Anytime you're getting this much divergence that's playing out over a big impulse, the likelihood chance of it reversing is going to be likely. The more that we close below this, the higher the chance is of that. But I still easily think that we could get one more big impulse. If we look at the daily time frames, yes, we're still below that resistance. But if we come over here and pull up the 50 moving average, we can see that we're pretty much retesting that same level again. And this has been a really important trend indicator. The reason why I'm not trying to call some top right here and say that just because we have bearish divergence, this thing's going to top. I still think that we could easily get another impulse from here. But what we can see here is pretty much most attempts at this 50-day moving average have resulted in a bullish retest. We have had periods where we temporarily went below, but this was always resulting into periods where we still ended up trending above. And for the last few months, we've done nothing but just trend above this level. So I think that the best thing that we can do is continue to expect that the trend is just simply going to resolve in the most strength that it's already in. In that case, the strength is obviously in the bulls. So with us coming back down on this 50-day moving average, with this 50-day moving average proving to be a really important level for trending, we've seen lots of bounces off of this level with the DXY. I'm not expecting that we're just going to instantly close below it right off the bat. With the SPX sitting at resistance and the dollar sitting at support, I mean, the likelihood chance of this thing just resolving the way that it's been resolving is much higher. As much as I would just absolutely love to see a massive red candle come in here, us to close below this level and then sell off, as much as I would love that to happen, it's just not the most likely scenario, because what we're looking for is the trend. And the trend is in the bull's favor as far as the dollar goes. The trend is down for the equity market. As long as the trend's down for the equity market and the dollar's up, we would expect to see Bitcoin continue to trend down. And so, yes, we have managed to get back up at the 50-day moving average. We're not above it yet, but we don't have confirmation. If we can get a big, strong move above this level and then retest this level as support on the SPX, then I will consider that as a reversal. Same thing, if we lose the 50-day moving average and it starts becoming resistance, in my opinion, that's where we're going to see the reversal point of the dollar. You know, the RSI is not going to tell us it. It's been telling us that we're going to see a reversal point for months at this point. So I don't think that we should be watching this. I think a big thing that we should be watching on the daily time frames is this 50-day moving average. You know, there has been periods where we have temporarily closed below it, but every one of those periods, the price went back up. And so if we get a move like this, a strong close below, and we can't manage to get the prices back above that trend, I do believe that will be our early signal at reversal point. And so if we start to see the dollar reverse, we'll start to see the early signs inside of the SPX, and that will be the time to really unload on altcoin picks and Bitcoin picks, but really Bitcoin picks. That's my focus in the short term of the bear markets, always has been. Now, I've already told you guys I'm not buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, I'm buying Pulse Chain, so just keep that in mind. When I make these videos, I'm helping everybody understand where I believe the market direction is going to take place. And I'm helping you guys so that you can understand when the good time to be getting in would be. Now, for me, you guys already know I'm not messing with any of the other cryptos. I'm really focused on one ecosystem play. And so if you guys also want to find out what those are, I'm not going to be talking a lot about some of the ecosystem plays. Of course, when Pulse Chain launches, I will make a video. I'll tell you guys kind of a little bit about my plan. But if you guys really want to know what I'm doing with my money, that's why you got to get into the Discord. It's a lifetime access if you guys join my VIP. So if you do want to see what I'm doing with my money, how I'm restructuring my portfolio, I'm going to be moving quite a bit of my bigger investments into Pulse Chain, and not just Pulse Chain, but some of those other ecosystem plays. You guys aren't going to know the ecosystem right when I'm very first moving my money around. You're going to hear about it way after the fact. And so if you want to get it, the information right when I first get it, right when I'm very first doing anything with my portfolio, that's all going to get taught to you guys inside the Discord. So if you guys want to get access to that, links are in the description. Either way, join the Discord server. If you're a new guy getting in these markets and you just simply want to learn more, You don't have to pay anything. You guys can go ahead and download my free ebook, and this is a beginner's guide to crypto. I've spent a lot of time making it, really spent a lot of effort to try and put some of the most vital information that really helped me the most becoming profitable inside the markets. So if you're a new guy, check it out. Not going to cost you anything, but I know it's going to make the world of difference in your portfolio and trading plan. Thank you guys so much for the support. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.